At some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks, it came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks.
Instead, this case could go forward, and he would have to sit for depositions, argue, defend, show where his whereabouts were, and the light of day could be very damaging to him both in the court of law and the court of public opinion.
Jay-Z, the elusive rap mogul, has been thrust into the spotlight amidst Diddy's legal chaos. The mastermind behind this revelation? High-powered attorney Tony Buzbee. Nearly 2 months ago, Buzbee teased a major bombshell involving a big name, and now he's delivered, shaking up the narrative with his explosive exposé.
But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
Despite mounting allegations, Jay-Z is doubling down, using his immense influence to confront accusations head-on. Reports suggest he's relied on financial settlements to silence alleged victims, a strategy that's worked before. However, this time, the individuals involved are refusing to back down, prioritizing their dignity over payouts, signaling a potential turning point in the unfolding drama.
For Jay-Z, this presents a very difficult situation because unlike Sean Combs, Jay-Z doesn't have the opportunity to say that he's being charged criminally and that this civil case should be paused. Instead, this case could go forward and he would have to sit for depositions, argue, defend, show where his whereabouts were, and the light of day could be very damaging to him both in the court of law and the court of public opinion.
Jay-Z has been famously married to Beyonce for 16 years. They have 3 children together. Today, Jay-Z denying all allegations, saying in part, "My only heartbreak is for my family," adding, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case." His attorneys quickly taking his rebuttal to court, filing a motion to deny the accuser's request to remain anonymous or dismiss the lawsuit, calling it a cynical and calculated campaign to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money.
There are a number of reasons as to why a defendant would ask that a plaintiff be named in a civil lawsuit such as this. They may simply say that getting the name and the time and place of when something occurred would better allow them to prepare for a defense. The other, probably less benign reason is oftentimes when someone is accused of a crime like this, the accuser doesn't want to be named, and if they are forced to be named, we have seen certain people decide to drop the lawsuit altogether. So it could be a tactic to try to get the lawsuit dropped.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward.
This recent revelation stems from one of at least 7 civil lawsuits against Sean Combs filed in October by attorney Tony Buzbee, all of which allege Combs dozens of victims for over 2 decades.
What shocked me most was that it was going on openly in front of other people.
Jay-Z and Tony Buzbee. Tony Buzbee, who's representing the Jane Doe against Jay-Z and Diddy, is now claiming that Jay-Z's legal team, again alleging this, that Alex Spiro, is the Jay-Z's lawyer, is out there sending investigators. Here was what he said. "Investigators from New York have called many of our law firm's current and former clients. What they didn't anticipate was one of the clients decided to record the conversation. It's shocking and illegal. Here's a portion taken from the transcript. In a couple of days, or maybe by next week, anyone Googling Buzbee and his company, his practice, are going to get into litigation, okay? What we're trying to do is we are trying to put this thing together for the company that we're working for. We could get you paid. You could get money right soon, you know? We gave this kid $1,000 to start yesterday just to get him on the right path. At the end of the day, this is going to go through the courts. Buzbee is getting sued. These guys are on tape offering to pay clients to sue our law firm. That's a crime." Now, he shares this photo on his Instagram with sort of the same message. Now, there are comments disputing this. I can't confirm or deny any of this. This top comment, Buzbee's hired these guys. I've seen the middle dude. I don't know if this is true, but again, it just goes to show I don't know who to believe or what's going on, because as all of this is going down, which seems pretty awful if true, especially if he's got audio tape confirming it, are they actually connected to Jay-Z's legal team? That's going to be the big question. Everyone will say they are, but are they actually? Tony could have hired them. Anybody could have hired them. That's what's so problematic. Diddy's team could have hired them to try to get Jay-Z more intertwined. Who knows? At the same time, Tony Buzbee is also being accused of coercing one of the women who stepped forward after calling the phone number to basically change the story. And then when they didn't, they got dropped. Here's Megan Cuniff, who's a good reporter on all this, a declaration from one of Carter's lawyers that somewhat ironically says the woman wants to remain anonymous because she fears retaliation from Buzbee. As this breaks down, she, the law firm rep is, serving the affidavit declaring under penalty of law that yes, this woman came in. She said that she told Buzbee the story. Buzbee wanted it to be, how does Sean Combs connect? When she said Sean Combs doesn't connect, but it was a separate trafficking case, Buzbee sort of wanted her to include Combs. When she wouldn't, they said they weren't interested. And that's why the woman stepped forward, because she felt this is not good for actual victims. So look, we got two opposing legal issues. Both sound extremely serious.
A major twist arises as a Jane Doe delivers a shocking tell-all to CNN, recounting harrowing experiences at Diddy's infamous parties. She alleges witnessing and enduring the sinister side of these high-profile gatherings, shedding light on their disturbing reality.
According to your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
So you had a friendly chat, and then, according to your lawsuit, at some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks, it came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sadly, Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point, and once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
You allege that you were forcibly pushed into an SUV by Sean Combs. That act alone, according to your lawsuit, left you in considerable pain. And then once inside the vehicle, your lawsuit says plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. And it goes on to say that he you.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful, and he was acting like it was nothing, and he seemed to be disconnected from it, but it was beyond belief.
All right, CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who's doing really amazing reporting on this subject, is here with your exclusive. What was it like to sit down with this man?
You know, John, this was the first time that he has told anyone other than his attorneys this story. He, as you see, we concealed his identity. He filed his lawsuit back in October as a John Doe. He says that he wants to keep his anonymity because he wants to keep some semblance of his life private. But that's a difficult thing to do, to sit down and tell your story to a stranger as a journalist. So I asked him, why now? Why are you coming forward now? And he said that he did not know that there were other accusers of Sean Combs out there. He only found out from seeing news reports. And there was one report he saw that there is somebody who alleged that they were 9 years old when they say that they were by Sean Combs. And this John Doe that I sat down with, he said, if a 9-year-old could do it, then I could do it. And it made him feel like he wished that he spoke out before because he could have prevented children from allegedly being. Now, as I said, this lawsuit was initially filed back in October of this year, so these claims are not new, but this is the first time that he sat down. In fact, John, this is the first time that any accuser of Sean Combs has sat down with the media for an interview.
Jaguar Wright, a relentless critic of Jay-Z, faced intense backlash after her controversial Piers Morgan interview, where critics dismissed her claims as propaganda. Now, fresh allegations tying Jay-Z to Diddy's legal battles have bolstered her credibility. In her latest interview, Wright explores the Carter-Knowles family dynamics, focusing on Solange's deep-seated animosity toward Jay-Z, animosity dramatically exposed during their infamous elevator clash nearly a decade ago. Wright's insights add a compelling new layer to an already turbulent and high-profile narrative.
It's now being talked about louder than ever. I guess, does that give you some peace to know that people are finally really questioning this man?
It's emboldening me. I spoke on Piers Morgan. I said that I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now. So this is great because he's been evading. But the thing is, everyone in the backdrop knew that he was the celebrity John Doe. Everybody knew that. They knew it when I did Piers Morgan.
Is Beyonce celebrity B?
I hope to God not. But she was around. And she's very... she's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry.
Well,
what I will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Yeah.
She knows. She knows.
I want to give you props though, because on your channel, which I want to plug, you Jaguar Right Effect, you guys can support it. You posted last night, your first response was reposting the unedited Piers Morgan interview, which I found very ballsy and very telling. And again, this is where it all came from, where Piers Morgan was scared by Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, proving they are watching and they're being litigious. I got to watch my back, Jaguar. I appreciate you
That's fine.
getting that. And I don't want to lose my platform. I can't afford
God,
Alex
no.
Spiro.
I wouldn't want that for anyone. I don't want anyone to lose their platform.
He's good. He's good too. Right
yeah,
or wrong.
He's real good.
What I wanted to take this video for is we're going to have Jaguar live tomorrow around 4 p.m. Eastern. She's coming back for a long form conversation. We're going to hear plenty. If you got questions, come ask them. Jonas, tomorrow, hit the subscribe. Jaguar, I want to do a victory lap for you here. I want to say, because people say you're being crazy, but the reality is I think you were onto something before a lot of us, specifically about Jay-Z. And there are some clips I want to watch with you, particularly one of Rihanna that really freaked me out. This clip, guys, if you haven't seen it, which I hadn't seen it until this morning when I saw this headline, Kim found it for me. Let's watch this clip quickly.
Crazy
Let's
that you
watch
haven't
Tyra
seen
like pushing to get this out of Rihanna, and when it does, man, it made me feel very, very uncomfortable.
Audition. Yes, but before I met him, I was so nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing. I sang Fun to Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
Yeah. So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, you did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, this lady.
He said, there are 2 ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
The audience is so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if Tyra was trying to get that on the record, but my God, what Jaguar? He threatened her. This is her own words coming out of her mouth. And she was a kid at that time, correct?
A 15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it. And the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and there's
This is her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was
Very much
17
so.
is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
Have
had
you
to
spoken
apologize.
to my friend Jonathan? Hey, you should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Pond the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around and she's, oh, it's cool, it's cool.
Is that why this happened? Do you have any insight on this infamous elevator video where Solange was seen just unloading on him? Beyonce's there as well.
What I will say is right there, that's the moment when he told her to back up and called her Tito Jackson.
Respect
and
love to Tito Jackson, who we just lost recently.
I know. Tito
Legend,
could never get a break, and he's the nicest guy.
But here,
yeah,
Jay-Z trying to mimic, she's not worthy, she's nobody, is what he's trying to do.
Pretty much is what he pretty much said to her. But the thing is there was infidelity that was happening that night. Both of them got caught doing things they weren't supposed to do. I believe there might have been some DV that happened. And people who know Mr. Carter knows he doesn't have a problem with putting his hands on his wife.
Even Johnny Depp's former legal counsel has weighed in, expressing doubt about Jay-Z's ability to emerge unscathed. Coupled with the gravity of Jane Doe's allegations, this insight paints a grim and increasingly troubling picture for the rap icon.
I have to bring on one of our favorites, renowned litigator, trial attorney Ben Chu, who famously represented Johnny Depp in his very high-profile civil trial against Amber Heard. My goodness, I mean, what do you want to talk about first? You want to first talk about the allegations in the Jay-Z lawsuit before we talk about the legal war that's going on? What do you make of the fact that he has been identified in this case and the allegations against him?
Good morning, Jesse. It's great to see you again. Yeah, these are shocking allegations, and I think he's put out a very forceful statement against them, which I think is a good move, both legally and in terms of PR. You know, assuming, of course, that he is innocent of that. I think these are the kinds of allegations that one would expect someone falsely accused to push back on extremely strongly, which he has now done.
For people who haven't read the complaint, let me just give them a sample. It reads, Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall. Again, allegedly 13 years old when this happened. Combs then threw plaintiff toward a wall, causing plaintiff to fall. Plaintiff got up and stumbled, at which point Combs grabbed her again and threw her on the bed. At that point, Carter began removing plaintiff's clothes as she grew more and more disoriented. And then the complaint says that Jay-Z, this 13-year-old, and then Diddy allegedly her too, and she claims she actually fought back, hit Combs in the neck, was able to grab her clothes, run out of the room. Ben, could she win a case like this based purely on her testimony? If this is so old, you know, maybe there's no surveillance, maybe there's no text messages, maybe there's no forensics, could she win based purely on her account of what happened?
She could theoretically win if her testimony were especially compelling, but I think you put your finger on one of the real weaknesses, is that these allegations are ancient. One thing that leapt out to me is the allegations also include that there was a witness,
yes,
you know, other than Diddy, who a female, another woman. Her testimony, and obviously she will be subpoenaed, could be crucial. I mean, if that testimony corroborated the plaintiff's claims, then that would be something that would really be a game changer. But the plaintiff alone, I think, is going to face some credibility issues, especially when you have Jay-Z. I mean, Diddy, the allegations are pretty widespread, but there haven't been similar allegations about Jay-Z, and that really sets his case apart.
I believe you're referring to Celebrity B, this female celebrity who was in that room. Do you think this person has settled maybe her claims with Tony Buzbee? What do I mean by that? If she was present, I imagine that Tony Buzbee might have reached out to her and said, listen, I can file a lawsuit against you too because of you being there. You were present, you were a witness, maybe. Do you think that this is a person who maybe already settled her claim so that she would be a cooperating witness for Tony Buzbee's case? I mean, tell me how you think that might work.
That would be a brilliant move if that's what Buzbee did, because otherwise he is making really, the worst, the harshest kinds of allegations, and he's signing his name to it. I mean, he referred to his client vetting a demand letter. Well, sure, the client is supposed to vet the demand letter for in terms of the factual allegations, but the legal allegations, the legal import of that is the province of the attorney. So you can't necessarily just hide behind your client. But were he to have made a deal with Celebrity B, that would really backstop both his client and himself in terms of his potential exposure for being involved in frivolous litigation.
But you think Celebrity B would take any kind of deal where they have to testify and say, yeah, I was in a room while a 13-year-old was being and yeah, I'm not being sued now because I settled my claims? I mean, either way, if this is true and this person knows who Celebrity B was, I can't even imagine, even if they were a cooperating witness of some kind, that they don't look really, really bad from this.
I totally agree. I think that premise is dubious for the reasons you mentioned. I mean, Celebrity B, while it would be a terrible thing not to have reported these crimes, and they're very serious crimes if in fact they were committed, but it's unclear what, if any, civil liability Celebrity B would not have or would have for not being a good Samaritan. I mean, I think the statute on that, to the extent that there's any liability for not reporting, had long since been passed. So I don't think she would have any legal or factual incentive to make such a deal. I think her incentive would be not to cooperate at all and to deny that she witnessed any such thing.
This case takes on greater significance as it officially links Jay-Z to Diddy's scandal, drawing him into federal investigations. Legal experts suggest his involvement could trigger more revelations, potentially exposing deeper secrets about Hollywood's dark and hidden underbelly.
She's going by Jane Doe in this case, filed the complaint back in October, but has just now revised it to include Jay-Z, making him the first celebrity to actually be named in a case with Diddy. And let's just say that the internet is not surprised, nor do they have much sympathy. Somebody commented and said, "This is the least surprising headline I've read on X in years." Another person said, "I was waiting for the Jay-Z stories. I believe it." I mean, guys, like, the comments go on for miles here. Well, we tried to tell you, not shocked. We already knew he was involved. Now, obviously, this is incredibly important to note, especially if we're being consistent here, but in this country, people are innocent until proven guilty. Even people who have been close friends with Diddy for like 30 years and most likely knew about or attended his freak-offs, even they are innocent until proven guilty. That is how our justice system works, and hopefully we still have a shred of integrity. But in the court of public opinion, Jay-Z is done, and apparently he's been done for a while. Somebody commented and said, Jay-Z was close friends with R. Kelly, Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, and now suddenly there's no way he could be a LMFAO. There is thread upon thread upon thread exposing him, going viral on X, literally racking up upwards of 20 million views each. One of them said, Jay-Z a criminal turned tycoon, a thread exposing all the rapper's involvements with minors and a real. And the one thing that all of these threads bring up and really start with is the age discrepancy with when he met and started dating Beyonce, who was 12 years younger than him, and the fact that they've never really given a clear answer. They've said anything from 15 years old to 19 years old.
This 13-year-old, I guess, lied to her parents about where she was at this night, and she wanted to be at the VMAs. So she rolls over to the Radio City Music Hall. This is in New York City, where the VMAs was being hosted, and she's like trying to get into the VMAs, She can't get in. She's going up to limo drivers and trying to shoot her shot, which at 13 years old, what the hell are you doing at the VMAs? I guess it was a different time. She ends up talking to a limo driver, discussing her plan, what she's trying to do. And apparently this driver was like, hey, you know, Diddy likes young girls, I'm paraphrasing here, and you're exactly perfect for the job here. And that's how she ends up getting exactly what she's wanted here. She goes to this after party hosted by P. Diddy, and she's there with Sean Diddy Combs, Sean Carter, who we know as Jay-Z, and Celebrity B, which is this female celebrity.
The turmoil. Jay-Z and Beyonce appeared at daughter Blue Ivy's red carpet premiere, presenting a united front. While their composed demeanor was seen as a PR win, critics suggest it's a calculated move to divert attention from the intensifying controversy behind the scenes.
Hi, Beyonce. Hi. Blue, you look beautiful. Also, your turn to the left. Start on the left. Look, we get you to the left.
Joey, I want to start with just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it, it's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
So based on the allegations, Jessica, good morning, good to see you. I think that it certainly could be. Why do I say that? Now, he, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement. He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because New York, and what's alleged in this complaint is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, her, and that, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors, and if true, right, you could pursue it criminally. Now, with respect to the evidentiary value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right, more than 24 years ago, but in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right, in addition to other people. Number two, there's the claim by the victim, right, that she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress. Number three, that she phone called her dad, who showed up, the 13-year-old, and now removed her. So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality, and, you know, we'll see what happens or if the DA looks and investigates.
TMZ host Charles Boder, closely monitoring the case, criticized Jay-Z and Beyonce's PR teams for mishandling their response. He argues these missteps could undermine their efforts to prove innocence, if there's any innocence to prove at all.
Jay-Z and Beyonce's part to show, you know, unity and that they were together and show up, because, you know, Beyonce is, you know, everything is coordinated. she doesn't usually do red carpets. They release the photos themselves.
I think she would do this. I think she would have done this red carpet anyway because Blue Ivy's in the movie as well, and it was a big moment for her. So I think she was planning. I know she was planning to go, and was expected to be there. I think what Tony Buzbee, the reason he filed this on Sunday, is he wanted to either force Jay-Z to not go, because as you know, what normally happens when celebrities are suddenly involved in a controversy, they don't go out to events because they don't want questions. They don't want photos that bring up the news cycle again. So typically they wouldn't go. And clearly, Tony Buzbee, if that was his plan in filing it on Sunday, he miscalculated because Jay-Z decided he was just going to go full bore against him and say, I got nothing to hide and I'm going out with my family no matter what you want to accuse me of.
Charles, I want to ask you about what you just mentioned moments ago, where you talked about saying, why didn't you file criminal charges? And he said something like, look, wouldn't you think that something that was this heinous and this egregious, why wouldn't you want to file criminal charges? Does this have anything to do with the statute of limitations? And look, excuse my ignorance on this. Was this filed in Los Angeles or in New York?
It was filed in New York. So, well, the civil lawsuit was filed in, I think the civil lawsuit was filed in federal court. But
the statute of limitations.
The statute of limitations would be in New York State. And there are no statute of limitations for first degree in New York State. And based on the allegations that were put in the lawsuit, this would be, if there were to bring criminal charges, would be first degree. So there is no statute of limitations. So if I can't imagine Jay-Z would put that in a statement without his lawyers knowing, look, there is no statute of limitations. So if you're going to call him out this way, you're going to dare him, know that it's possible that they will file a criminal complaint. Doesn't mean that the DA would bring charges. The other thing you got to look at is, and by the way, Tony Buzbee has since told us that his client is considering that. He said it is up to his client ultimately, but there is a chance that she would go to NYPD and file a criminal complaint. Now, investigating 24 years later, finding witnesses, finding evidence would be extremely difficult for the authorities, but we'll see if it goes that way.
What's your take? Could this be doomsday for another rap mogul? Let us know in the comments. And if you're here for the drama, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explosive music industry secrets. Until next time, fam, stay tuned.